Travis Chase, HGP-19 News. So were you able to confirm if anybody saw when the helicopter went down? What is your intelligence telling you that actually probably happened?
No, we don't have any reports of that. Anyone seen the helicopter going down? We don't have.
Gordon Mosley, news source. Sir, could you say if the Guyana Defence Force received any reports of movement with Venezuelan aircraft on that side of the border, on their side, during the course of the day, close to the Guyana border areas?
We do not have any information suggesting that there was any flight by Venezuelan aircraft in that area. The location, as I mentioned, is approximately 30 miles east of the border, of the village called Arao. Yes.
Sir, taking into account all of the developments that took place last evening, what we heard from the Venezuelan president and from our own president late last night, and taking into account the weather conditions generally today, did the GDF think it best to send this team in with some of your more experienced persons into the area with all of that happening? Was it a wise choice looking back?
There's always looking back, there's always a better opportunity to see all the decisions we made. But I tell you, as a force, every time we are deployed, there's an assessment done. There's a map analysis of our flight route, and that was done. And the decision to go into that area was a decision made by the persons who would have been assessing the safety of that flight. It's a good question, Mr. Mosley, and I'm trusting the judgment, the initiative, the experience of those officers who would have planned and execute and conduct that flight, that they made a decision that consider all safety parameters.
Brigadier Sir, could you say whether that area is inhabited by anyone or is it uninhabited? That's my first question.
Yes, it is not inhabited by persons. The closest we have location is the Keriku top, the Keriku bottom, where we have airstrip. But it's in a general area where there is no inhabitants.
Is it easily accessible by foot?
Well, I will tell you, if it was, we would have been there. It's heavily forested, mountainous, so it's not.
Okay.
Yes. So search and rescue mission would see us rappelling down into the jungle, and then search in the general area. Search and rescue, depending on the terrain, you would have the fixed aircraft flying over based on the location of the ELT signal, identifying the craft, then deploying the rotor wing, which is the helicopter, to have those ranks rappel down into the jungle.
So have any troops been rappelled down in the area today, or that was not possible due to the weather?
That was the intention, but even that we could not have done based on the visibility. Yes.
Sir, is the GDF concerned at all that this might be more than just an incident of a possible crash or impact? Taking into account this was a very experienced, 40 years, a very experienced pilot, knowing when to fly, how to fly in that specific area. Is the GDF concerned that this might be something more than the aircraft going down because of an emergency?
There's always a concern when something like this happens. Speculation is not what I want to go into. But of course we have other situations in a period like what we are having now with our territorial integrity being threatened. There's many other things we can think about, which I would not want to go into. but we are considering every possibility. And right now our priority is to find and save the lives of our officers and ranks.
Has the GDF, quickly, last question from me, has the GDF sought any assistance as yet from the U.S. Southern Command in terms of the search and rescue operations? There are reports that there have been U.S. military aircraft patrolling the skies over Guyana since this past weekend.
Well, I will tell you, incidentally, I had scheduled meetings today, several meetings, and our partners were updated on this search and rescue mission that we had today. And the US was informed, Brazil was informed, RSS was informed. And tomorrow we'll see additional assets being deployed as is necessary.
From the US and your partners?
Well, we'll have it from our partners.
So, since we're on the issue of partners, do you know if we buy or do we get satellite photos from our friendly states to track any possible Venezuelan military incursion or something? Do you know?
Well, I'm not too sure if we are still on the. I want to stay on the search and rescue part of our press conference. Forgive me. Yes.
Any other questions or reference the operator?
Brigadier, Chief of Staff, have you asked for a review of the safety records for the aircraft? And if so, what has it shown so far?
I will tell you that's a good question. I know the GCAA has activated their process, and they are doing their work. We are meant to generate all the data, the manifest, the weight, the flight plan, etc. And all of that has been compiled and I believe submitted to the GCAA.
Were any reports brought to your attention about any problems with this aircraft?
No.
Since its acquisition?
Aircraft always develop issues that will not affect its flight, but may affect the air condition, other minor parts. Every time an aircraft goes up, it has the inspection and the certification of the engineer and also with the pilot. They have to be satisfied before they fly. Given the experience we have with our pilots, there was no reported issue with that aircraft, that particular aircraft.
Do you know how old are these aircraft?
This is one of the two aircraft we acquired in the past 2 years. Yes. Yes.
Leroy Smith, Big Smith News Watch. Could you say, Chief of Staff, if the aircraft is properly equipped with the mechanism to scramble any attempt to interfere with its communication and these sort of stuff? Properly equipped.
The aircraft is properly equipped to fly. Our communication, there is a satellite phone on the aircraft other than its organic and indigenous communication set that it used to communicate with the flight control. There is a satellite phone on deck. We have not had any report of any interference relating to communication. But if you know, the satellite phone communication depends on a clear sky. So that also could be an issue why we have not been hearing from them or we communicating to them. Yes.
Is there any message to the family of those soldiers on board? I know you said you're optimistic, but your demeanor doesn't say that. What message do you send to the family this evening, and what message do you send to your soldiers in those bordering locations, Arau, Ettering Bank?
Well, thank you for that, Mosley. But if your judgment of my demeanor is in any way your own interpretation, I want my officers safe. That's my focus right now. My troops on the border, I would tell you, their morale is high. I would have been visiting almost every week, along with other commanders. And I will be visiting them soon. But don't let my demeanor make you think otherwise.
What do you say to your troops? They must be concerned. A missing aircraft, they're in these border locations, the threats from Venezuela. What assurances can you give them tonight?
You see, let me deviate a bit and tell you, we are a different breed of people. When we wear this uniform, it brings a new meaning to life. The enlistment in any military is not a decision that anyone could make. As a matter of fact, this is the best decision that we could have made. There are three types of people, Mr. Mosley, for me as a military officer. Those who go through life not knowing what they're good at and never finding what they're good at, and they die. And then the second type, those who go through life and knowing the latter part of their lives what they're good at, but they did not get the time enough to develop on it. And then there are those who in the early stage of their life understand what they want and what they're best at. And those people, all of them fall in the category of being a soldier. We live our life to serve and to protect the country that we serve. And I'm confident that every officer and every soldier is in that category. For me to tell them something to convince them that everything is okay, I can do that, but I know they're already there. Thank you.
You have assurance that the GDF helicopter was not taken out of the sky by Venezuela?
We have no information to suggest that, because we also had rescue mission in the same area. We had 2 aircraft flying in that same area. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
And may you continue to serve like me, this country, this beautiful country.